Hello everybody, welcome to Poly Games. I'm your host Joseph, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch. But before we do that, if you guys could like the video a shit ton, gives me a big old shit-eating grin, because that's how YouTube works now. And we have been talking a lot about the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be our last major video on the console until it comes out. We've been talking about it from what it could have been to our first live reactions of their press conference. And after that press conference, after the Treehouse events, we now have a better understanding of what this console is and what it's capable of doing. So how I always justify a purchasing decision is always make a pros and cons list. That's how I'm going to structure this video. I'm going to talk about what my cons are for the system and what my pros are. And I want to know what yours are down below. Type them away while this video is going on, because I want to know how you feel about the system. Let's get right into it, shall we? The cons. The obvious one, I feel like. Battery life for me was a bit of a disappointment. Not the biggest disappointment on this list, but a disappointment nonetheless. I wanted at least 3 hours of battery life on this console. A lot of people, when they started off of how long should the battery last, gave that 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 hour mark. And to have it 2.5 to 6 is just, like I said in the previous videos, a shotgun blast when it comes to battery life. It's either you have barely any or a lot, and it's just too far of a range. Now, the devs say that, the Breath of the Wild is going to last 3 hours on a single charge. Part of me doubts that. Part of me just says that's dev math. And what we know is sometimes what devs say doesn't actually come to fruition. So the battery life is something that I have to judge a little bit here. The one thing I do look at the launch lineup and say, what is there? Now, there is one game in particular, we'll leave that for later, but there's already 2 games on that list that came out last year, The Binding of Isaac After Birth and the Just Dance game. Both games from last year. Those are, for the most part, remasters, right? When we look at this console, then there's only 4 games, one of which we can all be honest here, 1-2 Switch, looks a bit on the lame side, which everybody who's gotten their hands on it say, yeah, it's a cute game, not worth $50, should be bundled into the console, but it isn't. So we have 1 party game, 2 games that are a remaster, and 1 that we'll talk about later. Now here's where I have actually real complaints with this console, and that's the online. The online, you will have to pay for it just like you would PSN or Xbox Live, but the online service here seems to be gutted. And if it is going to be $50-$60, we don't know the price yet, but if it's going to be that much, I want more functionality than what I'm getting here. The chat app is where most of the contention is with the online feature. The chat app, before this app, you would have to go on Skype or some type of, Discord or something on your computer to talk to your friends while you're playing Splatoon. What does this chat app do? The same exact thing. You have to talk to your friends, put on some type of code, like a party code, talk to your friends on the phone while you're playing the game on the console. It just proves that Nintendo still doesn't know. They're still behind on what online players want and what Major League, hardcore gamers want. That chat option they have is garbage, and also the try a game for 30 days feature is also stupid. Now, my last 2 minor problems are with the Joy-Con controllers. 1, I don't care about motion controls. Please, Nintendo, stop pushing motion controls on us. When I saw the ARMS demo thing, I was like, cool, this looks fun. Until I saw people start moving around with it. And I was like, wait, no, I've seen this before. Cool, Nintendo came out and said, wait, motion controls, we're not going to push them on you. If you want to play games like ARMS, you can do that just the normal way. Next time, show us that. Don't spend 10 minutes on how awesome motion controls are. You sold us on that promise like 10 years ago, and guess what? Wasn't that great? If we want motion controls, we want to do it in VR. We don't want to do it outside of it. And the last con is that the accessories are way too expensive. Talking about the Joy-Con grip that houses the 2 out of the box does not charge the controllers, and that to me is a big fucking bummer. I actually don't know how these things charge or what the battery life on them are. And that's concerning to me because, maybe I could hook up a battery to my tablet, but what am I going to hook up to these 2 controllers? The fact that I had to buy a $30 accessory on top of that to charge the 2 Joy-Cons kind of bums me out, and I feel like is a mistake on Nintendo's part. And to be completely honest, everything accessory-wise is overpriced. 2 Joy-Cons are $80? Holy shit. One of them by themselves is $50. The Pro controller is $70. Just think about it here for a second. If you want want two, Joy-Cons, a workable controller that are Joy-Cons, you have to spend $130 to make that happen, or $120 to make that happen. That's too much money for me, man. It's actually 110, and I don't know how to add. So here's the deal, gang. Without tax, let's take the cons out for a moment here. Let's talk about the pros of this console. I feel like the console is a catch-22 of consoles. There is a good thing about it, but that's also their bad thing, and their bad thing's also their good thing. So when we talk about battery life, sure, the battery might not be the greatest, but when you're using something like USB-C to charge the tablet, that's amazing. USB-C is super fast, and it's getting readily available. If you have an Android device, if you purchased the last 6 months, or you're going to buy one now in 2017, chances are they're USB-C, meaning you can use your phone charger to charge your console. That's awesome, and it's going to charge it at a super fast rate. It's the only reason why I love my MacBook as much as I do, because that USB-C port, the only fucking one that's on it, is really awesome, and it charges my laptop really fast, and it's going to be charging my Nintendo system even faster. Awesome. The other cool thing about the battery is external batteries like these you will be able to use on your Nintendo Switch. So if you're running out of battery and you're on the go and you're nowhere near an outlet, you can go and use one of these babies to help charge your console. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Anchor. This is the battery I picked up. It's cool that you're able to use externals to power the console. There's no stupid Nyko accessory to, put on the back of your system to make it look like it's fat or make it look like it has a tumor. I like that the batteries are there. Their external batteries are there to help power your console if you need it. And USB-C as well. Can't stress enough how awesome that is. The next thing I want to talk about is that this is a console I always wanted. So when I look at the Vita was so close to something I really wanted. Having console-like games on the go. And having the Nintendo Switch here is that one step further. These are console games on a mobile platform. They aren't sacrificing too much to get that console experience. Enough that I could say, yeah, you know what, playing that Zelda game is better than playing it on my Wii U. That's awesome. That I could play it on the go, at home, and I'm not sacrificing much. Maybe some draw distance, maybe some blades of grass on the field, but other than that, I'm having a console experience on the go. That's awesome to me. And having Zelda as a launch title, a game that might be Game of the Year worthy, is something to stress about. And I know some people say, well, Zelda doesn't actually necessarily sell systems, but when you have this game break Twitter, that means something. And that's not something that you can brush off. Zelda, this one might be the first that helps draw people in, some casual gamers in, when they see that it gives off the feeling that it has that, Skyrim or like Witcher 3, like feel to it, that these huge open worlds that you can do so much with. If casual gamers see that, they'll hop on. So that's what I think. Legend of Zelda having it as a Game of the Year game right there, if the rumors are true, that's huge for Nintendo. And having a console, a Nintendo console, where a Zelda game, a Mario Kart game, Splatoon, which is their newest top-tier game, and then Mario all within a year, knock on wood, is awesome. And that's going to draw people to your console. Knowing that there was a 2-year period where the Wii U had almost no games come out, few and far between, we must know that there is something on the horizon for us to really be excited about with this console. I really do think with what Reggie was saying was teasing us with some type of Metroid game is coming next year. Is the Super Smash Brothers coming out sooner than we know? Is maybe even a Pokken coming out before we know? Or a real Pokemon game coming out on the system sooner than we know? And that's what gets me excited about the Nintendo Switch. With all that said, with all that out of the way, those are my pros. I actually really do at the end of the day, love the batteries. I love that this is giving me the console experience I've always wanted. I love the fact that there are some awesome IPs, huge IPs, coming in the woodwork for this system. I understand that this isn't going to be that all-in-one, end-all, be-all for me, that I'm not going to be able to play Dark Souls on the go like I so much wanted to, that I know I'm not going to be able to play Mass Effect or even the next Call of Duty on this system. But Nintendo has to be smart. They know that this system might be limited. But if they come out with the IPs that people want and sell systems, then that shows the third parties that there is something here if you show the right games for this console. Nintendo can't skate by on this only us and only our IPs. They did that with the Wii U, and the Wii U was a failure. Remember, the Wii U sold less than the Vita, sold less than the Dreamcast in their lifespan. And they can't just survive on their IPs. This thing needs to be big and it needs to hit in a hard way. And that means all teams on this console. And that's why I feel like you're going to see huge titles that are usually on the 3DS come on the Switch, or see teams that usually work on the 3DS come on the Switch and work on the Switch. And that's what I feel like the future of the Switch is. It all boils down to now how Nintendo markets it and how they utilize their developers within Nintendo. So with all that said out of the way, I'm going to be pre-ordering this thing because it is something I've always wanted since I was a child. And that is a console that, is a console experience, is a home console experience on the go. And I've always wanted that. And so this is going to be a day one purchase for me. And it doesn't mean I still have the same excitement that I had before the press conference. It means I'm excited, not so much so, now knowing what this thing is, but enough so that I'm willing to put my money in for it, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is I want to be a well-rounded gamer. I want to own a PlayStation, an Xbox, a PC, and a Nintendo console so that I feel like I have a right to be critical on those consoles. They say, hey, I put money on this thing, I want to see games out of you. And I feel like that is something that I hope you guys can respect from me going forward. That I'm willing to do this because not so much for me, but to make sure that you guys don't get burned when you go out there and you guys purchase games or you guys purchase game systems. So with all that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. There was a ruckus at my house. I don't know if you hear all the steps everything, but it's crazy. So with all that said, everybody, before I go crazy, I hope you comment, like, share, subscribe. It helps me out, shows me that you care, and it helps grow this beautiful dysfunctional family we got. With all that said, everybody, I deeply love the shit out of you guys, and have a great day.